Hey, this is Soma79 with a special announcement. My new Mega Mix is up. My MF Doom Mega Mix, Oxidation Moonsday, is now available. Go to www.soma79.com/doom to check it out. It's a 30-minute mix that I did of MF Doom raps over my own beats. I really enjoy it. I hope you really enjoy it. So check it out. Tell a friend. Peace. Hey, welcome to the Articulate Ox podcast. I'm your host, Soma79. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is a great episode. My guest is one of the founders of Ghetto house music, juke music, booty house music, whatever you want to call it, from the south side of Chicago, DJ Slugo. This dude is one of a kind in his music. You got to check it out. If you don't know about ghetto house music, it's very high energy, a little on the raunchy side, but super fun and just a really great energy and fun to dance to, fun to work out to. So check it out. He has some big accolades with people he's worked with, and shout out some Daft Punk and remixes with Nina Kravitz. I mean, this dude's a legend, and it was such an honor to talk to him. So check it out. Check out the interview. Yeah, have a good one. Peace. Meet Ann with wings clipped, quick to flip manuscripts, cause her man went from damaged kid to damn he's rich, but she still can't stand the way he manages to never put nickels in the can for the cancer kid. Hey, welcome to the newest episode of the Articulate Ox podcast. This is a very special episode. I am your host, Soma79. I'm already jumping the gun and interrupting and introducing my guest. One of the pioneers and the founders of ghetto house music from the south side of Chicago, DJ Slugo. How you doing today, Slugo?
Man, I'm good, man. Thank you. Thank you for the good intro, too, man. I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic, man. So it's funny. I've known who you are for a long time for kind of a weird reason, because I'm like, you can probably look at me and know what type of like indie rap nerd I am. But I've been a big fan of Atmosphere, and the lead rapper is Slug, and I was obsessed with him years ago. So every time I'd be looking at Sluggo would come up, and I was like, "Who is this dude?" So I remember you being on my radar for a while. I was like, "This isn't Slug, but this is dope, man."
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So let's talk a little bit. Let's just set the scene a little bit about what ghetto house music is. My roots in electronic music and hip hop music go back a long way, but this is the type of music that I always kind of knew about but didn't really know what the name was. So you want to talk a little bit about the origin and set the scene a little bit for how this got going in the early 90s?
Well, it actually came from Chicago house music. But in the era when we were coming up and growing up, the house music got kind of like too slow for us. So we were like hood guys, hanging in the neighborhood, hanging under the buildings. It's kind of ratchet for us. That's what you can, kind of ratchet for us. And the music just didn't fit the lifestyle we were all living. So, we got a few suggestions from people who was like, well, if you don't like it, change it. So we started making, stuff in our bedrooms and making our own versions of certain tracks, and then people start calling it hood music. Like, that's ghetto, man. Like, that's hood. They used to call it, first they started calling it booty music, and of course you can't say that everywhere. So people was like, no, that's from they from the hood. They make that ghetto music. You know what I'm saying? Like that ghetto, that hood music. So we just started calling it ghetto. It was house music, but it was from the ghetto. So we just ghetto house. You know what I mean? So. And we literally made the records strictly for the hood. We never expected the records to go outside of the hood, and when we started seeing that it was going to all these other countries and things of that nature, we was like, wait a minute, hold on, and this was before the internet.
Yeah, and it's like you almost have to wonder, because some of the lyrics are so sexually explicit. These people even know what they're saying.
Yeah.
Like,
a lot of people. Yeah, it speaks to this was all of the stuff we were saying in the hood. A lot of the slogans are stuff we were walking around the hood saying to women, women saying to men. The chants back and forth with stuff being said at the party, we do it on the mic. The girls would say we do it on the mic. The guys would say it, and we just turned it into records. You know what I mean? So it was one of those, man, I should put a beat behind that. Put a beat behind it. Now, it works better in the party. So we were making records to make them work better in the party. But when people start saying, hey, your record's in Germany, your record's in London, yeah. So we would, Ray started telling us that from Dance Mania, like, hey, you just sold so many copies in London. And for us, it was like, yeah, okay. You know what I mean? And, but even with the Daft Punk guys, like when we met those guys, it was like, we were like looking like they who? And they was like, man, these guys are like super big overseas. We was like, all right, but we in Chicago though. You know what I mean? So, and we wasn't
these guys are from
that,
the moon.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it was like, and then, I walked in Gramophone Records one day and they were like, hey, you heard the Teacher's record? And I was like, nah, what's that? What's that? They was like, no, they mentioned you on the Teacher's record. They mentioned you, Deanna Milton. I'm like, all right, cool. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, we made music for the hood, man. It was never really made for where it's at now. But I think it went so far because it was different.
Yeah.
It was different. It was raunchy. We said stuff that people were afraid to say. We didn't care, you know what I mean? And still don't. You know what I'm saying? So it was one of those things where, it was just, good music made from the heart, for the hood, from guys that's from the hood. That's why they called it Ghetto House.
It's funny, as I was driving around listening to Wouldn't You Like to Be a Hoe the other day, I was thinking about this conversation I had with my grandmother years ago about swears in general. And so stick with me with it. So like I remember explaining to her, I'm like, look, you don't like swears, you don't like the word fuck, whatever. Like the more, like if you hear that word enough, it loses all of its power. So it's like you're only giving it its power. And it's funny with a song like that, it hits you in the beginning with just the hook, and you suck it all in. But every time you hear it, it's mixed up a little bit. And by the end, it's reduced, it's like destructured down into just sounds. And it's like the impact of these words it's no longer about the words, because so much of words about context and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's brilliant. And I was just loving that, because I was like dancing around my kitchen listening to this stuff, and I was like, should I feel embarrassed? I'm like, no, fuck, man. Like I listened to 2 Live Crew on the bus when I was like 11.
yeah. Luke's actually one of my favorite people.
I'm sure.
I got a chance to see him in concert a couple of times. Like, this guy doesn't give a fuck, and I love it. Yeah, so Luke is actually one of my favorites.
He fought for a lot of us. Like he fought for a lot of freedoms, man.
Hey, I love that, bro. Yeah, I if you look on my website, I got a chance to meet him and kick it with him and talk to him, and it was one of the best days, because I was like, man, I don't even really have a lot of heroes, man, but you one of my heroes, bro. Like you say what you want to say, you put music to it. And now the world loves you for it. So you take them risks. So even on my records, I'll be like, I'll think sometimes and be like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna say it. Yeah. I'm gonna say it. Either it's gonna work or it's not gonna work. You know what I'm saying? So I actually don't give a fuck what I say on record no more. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
I think too that in some degrees there has to be like a sacred space. Like they talk about like comedy clubs being like a sacred space. I mean, as long as you're not Kramer up there from Seinfeld screaming the N-word. I mean, that's sort of like a little pushing it. But like to most degrees, it's like you're there, like it's like like a hip hop battle or like a roast or something. It's like just let it rip. It's like it's someone's gonna try to take shit out of context when they want at some point, and it's like just let it be. Just let it be. It's entertainment. It's dancing.
Yeah, so, I agree.
Let me ask you this. So, along the lines of like the 2 Live Crew, where did your sound really come from? Because when I listen to it, and I think early 90s, what's going on in music then, it's like that's the age of like, grunge, is the age of like Dr. Dre. And are you pulling more from like a Kraftwerk 80s like P-Funk type? I mean, obviously that doesn't sound like P-Funk, but where are you getting like that drum inspiration from?
So for me, my family is very, my grandmother, my mother, my aunts, all of them, my uncles, they were all music orientated. Like I heard funk, soul, gospel all my life. You know what I mean? So for me, I always was fascinated with the drums in records. That's what always drove me. Like I hear the words, know we're cool, but I might be sitting in the car listening to a record with my uncle, be like, man, he used to look at me crazy because he's like, hey, them congos funky in there. Like he used to be like, what? No, listen to the congos in there. Like you don't hear them in the background. I'm like, that's what's driving the record. And he'd be like, yeah, all right, yeah, okay. And then he'd turn it up, like, shut your ass up. Nobody want to hear nobody motherfucking congos. You know what I'm saying? So the congo, just drums. If you listen to my drums, like before I even drop any, even if I have an idea in my head, my main goal is I'm gonna do these drums first. And when I get through with these drums, then I'll do whatever verses or hook I'm gonna do. Then I'll go back and touch it up again to make the beat kind of match. You know what I'm saying? The words I said, because sometimes the drums don't go with the words. But drums have always been. So for me, I think it's natural. Like where I'm, like my African roots. I think that's what it is. Like I don't know, congos, toms, especially the 808 just does something for me. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll drop an 808 in the record where people saying that do not go there. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna make that motherfucker fit. You know what I'm saying? So they'll hit a 909, and then out of nowhere, I'll drop a crazy ass kick, and they be like, "Whoa!" So especially when I got the chance to do my first rave, I played a few of the records, and I saw that when the bass dropped, when the kick came in, even though some of the records was distorted, nobody gave a fuck. It was like they just going crazy to the bass, and I'm like, I can't hear the fucking vocals anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because the bass was rumbling so hard. But I learned that people didn't care. All they cared about was that rumbling, that bass. You know, nobody cared that you couldn't hear the vocals anymore. And when I just was in Poland and Amsterdam, one of the guys had a conversation with me at dinner and was like, y'all should stop trying to mix and master those records. And I was like, what you mean? He was like, the records y'all did in the 90s are better than the records y'all do now because the shit was coming straight from your drum machine. So we liked it, that nasty bass. We liked it, the toms over the bass, and it was crashing and fighting each other. That's what Ghetto House was. And it was like you guys are trying to clean up the bass and clean up the toms now. Then you want to go to the studio and y'all want to mix and master everything. And I was like, damn, nobody's ever said that to me. You know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, I get it. So all of 2023, I was like, fuck a studio. That shit's coming straight out of my computer, straight on the wax or straight digital. I'm gonna mix the best I can. If the bass is crashing with the toms, so be it. You know, and it's like I'm just going back to the old roots. You know, and he said you should find the microphone you had in '95. And I was like, it was a handheld. I still got it. He was like, use it. He was like, use it. Fuck all the bottle mics and all that extra shit. Use the handheld just on a few tracks. And then you tell me what happened. I was like, okay, all right, I'm going to do that. Yeah, so, yep.
So what was your recording process back then? Because I remember I was growing up listening to like Beastie Boys and NWA and like Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince.
People never believe my recording process. My first recording process was the R70. I had a Gemini. I didn't even have a sampler. I had a Gemini 4-pad bank mixer with the start and stop button. And I ended up finding out that you can get 2 to 3 seconds out of each pad bank. So wouldn't you like to be not wouldn't you like to be a hoe to Wet a Rat, that Pass a Blunt, that was made with that. Like I didn't get a little bit more equipment savvy until somebody introduced me to the Akai SO1. I still had my R70. Then they introduced me to the Akai SO1. Then from the Akai SO1, I went to the MPC with the Akai SO1. But I didn't, actually, that Dion, when he say, it's working, if you listen to that record, it's working has nothing to do with the record. He was saying the Akai SO1 was working because we couldn't figure it out.
I love shit like that.
You know what I'm saying? So it was crazy. Like we then me, Dion, and Milton would always trade recording secrets. Like, hey, I figured out. I called Milton one day and was like, hey, I figured out how to make the Akai SO1 sync up with the R70. Where when you put the samples in there, it loops and syncs up. They was like, get the fuck out of you lying. I'm like, I know how to make the Akai SO1 MIDI to the R70. And we had the bottom 4 pads, and the bottom 4 pads will be our samples, and that's how we did it. And then I ended up buying these things called the DR8s and DR16s. And from there, it was like, shit, I went and bought me a 16-track, boy. It upgraded as the more we went, the more we upgraded, but the sound was still crazy. Like, we didn't go to no recording studios. That shit was in our front rooms, bedrooms. Sometimes we had rooms at the park districts and shit like that they'll let us use, but it wasn't no recording studio. That shit came later on. Really, I feel like we kind of like got like a little bit too out of control, trying to do what we saw everybody else doing,
right? Yeah,
recording wise, and we didn't understand that what the recording style that we had and the thing that we were doing was unique.
Yeah.
We didn't understand
broken,
that.
Don't
we
fix
wanted
it.
Exactly. So I'm never going back to a studio to sequence or none of that shit. I actually got rid of my MPC, and I use this program called Logic now. It's like an MPC.
I was looking at Logic this week. Yep, I actually.
Oh my God!
What's funny? Logic. That leads me into a question I was going to ask you. So this is the drum machine that I have been using, and I don't use it. I haven't been using it that much. This is the drum machine I've had for years. I don't know if you've ever seen one of these. So this was I got this maybe 20 years ago. It's a Boss SP505 groove station. It's fun. It's functional. Good for playing live and stuff. But I just last week replaced it with this bad boy, the new Machine Plus.
The Machine. You know what? I tried Machine. I tried Machine. I tried Ableton. I just couldn't. It just didn't work for me. Yeah. Then somebody showed me. They was like, you know what? Somebody like you, let me show you Logic. They showed me Logic, and I was like, this works for me.
Yeah. I'm hoping to integrate this with Logic. That's the
Ableton reminded me of what's the program where you got to move all of the wires and.
Oh yeah, I can picture. I have different plugins that are like that, but yeah, it's like trying to mimic what it was like back in the day.
Yeah. I hate you got to move the.
Yeah, it's a little too much whimsy for me.
I was like, what is this? And the engineer was like, this is a patch bay. Like, I don't need no motherfucking. I don't want nothing that makes me go 8 steps to get to one beat. It just don't make. I need some shit to go quick. Like, I be wanting to make beats in 5 or 10 minutes. You know what I mean? So. Yeah, I Logic. I'm so fascinated with Logic now. I don't see me leaving that no time soon.
This is one of my favorite questions to ask fellow producers. When you get a new piece of equipment, do you read the manual or are you just like fuck it, just go for it?
Okay, so in the beginning, like from '95, I was with Traxtor for about 8 years. So Traxtor, this is how I got good with the MPC and every other piece of equipment I ever got. I was one of those people that would get that motherfucker, take it out the box, and just start fucking with it. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, hey, bro. He always would say, if you want to learn how to work a machine, then read the people that made it. That's the only, and then sit with it on your lap in your bedroom with the book, and with it on your lap and some headphones, and figure it out from there. So when we used to come to the studio, he wouldn't let us touch no equipment that we didn't know how to operate. Yeah. So it was like, read the manual. And the manuals used to be so thick. I'm like, man, I'm not going to read that whole book, man, just to learn how to work this drum machine. He was like, I promise you, if you read this book and learn, you're going to learn how to work this drum machine better than anybody in your genre of music, because nobody else is going to read the book either.
It's an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, because you're like, if I just suck it up for a couple weeks, I won't be 6 months from now figuring like not be able to do a basic thing. You know?
Yeah, and then we didn't have the luxury of YouTube and
And
we had none of that.
Following along on the videos for me is the perfect way.
Yeah, we had none of that. Like I remember back in the days going to sit in the Apple store trying to figure out how to work a Mac, just sitting there with everybody and like, man, this is my attention span is like terrible.
Yeah.
And I used to be sitting there bored, sitting there with a man, some chips and a soda, and be like, this shit ain't gonna help me. But it did. It actually taught me everything about Mac, taught me how to work a Mac and hook the equipment up to a Mac. And I was like, you know what, from here on, I'm going to these seminars. I'm gonna watch video footage. I'm gonna read the book and everything. You know what I'm saying? And it's still like that to this day. Every producer or engineer I know, a lot of them won't read. They won't pick up the book at all, especially when the manual is any thicker than this. They throwing that shit. The first thing when you open most boxes, the manual is the first thing there.
Yeah.
They toss that motherfucker to the side, open it up, and plug it up.
Crazy. Just
get the fucking with it. I'll be like, nah, bro, you got to read that manual. Like, nah, man, I had one of these before. I'll be like, nah, you ain't had it. You lying. Or they'll say, you know, Johnny got one. I'm finna call his ass. Like, nah, he don't even know everything about it. Be like, you know, so, you know, I used to always say I at least want to learn the basics.
Me too.
From the people who made the machine. If I can learn the basics, then I used to always say, if it breaks or if it locks up, I'm just take it back to where I got it from and say, well, y'all need to unlock this motherfucker or give me a new one. You know what I mean? So, you know, I read the manuals now. You know, I read the manuals and try to figure it out. Or I sit and watch YouTube videos faithfully. Put my headphones on and just sit and watch. You know, it's like, if you got a teacher, that was one of my mistakes in music in high school. I didn't listen to my music teacher because I didn't think I was going to ever need music. Music wasn't my thing in high school. You know what I mean? It was like, so I don't need nothing. Well, why am I need to learn how to play a piano for? And now, you know, when I went to the classroom, I had to tell my music teacher, like, I really want to apologize. You know what I mean? Like, I wasted 4 years where you could have taught me how to play.
Right.
And that was I'd be so dope at playing.
Can you imagine being able to go to that back in your time in your life when your brain was that malleable too? Because it was just such a sponge. It's like I remember every shitty thing.
If I could just get them 4 years
of
high school with band, if I could just get them 4 years and learn sheet music and learn how to play, I'll take that 4. You know what I mean? I'll take those 4. Yeah,
and that's what a lot of people that want to be producers resist doing for so long is actually buckling down and learning about music. And like, I was talking to someone I worked with in here these years, like, I use keys now. I'm like, well, you've always been using keys. You're just now conscious of what keys you're using.
Exactly.
I'm like, so
I'm learning chords now. I'm learning how to do progressions on chords. Like, but I'm saying I had this shit for free. But I had this shit for free and just fumbled the bag. So you know, I don't look back and regret it. I just be like, that's a part of my life.
So how did you go from there to really being serious about, if you're in high school and weren't really serious about music? I mean, it couldn't have been that much long after high school that you got into it.
Yeah, I wasn't serious. Okay, so grammar school music was always something, you know, of course, beating on the tables with pencils and things
coffee
like that.
Can and like patting on it, like ta-ta, tee-tee-ta.
Were like, I was always into music, but it's like I ended up playing one of my high school parties because the DJ didn't show.
That's always the story.
My cousin was teaching me how to DJ. So my cousin, he was super popular in the neighborhood for DJing. And, you know, I used to be looking like, man, everybody flocking to him, and the girls and stuff flocking to him. And I used to be looking like, and, you know, my cousin was not a hood dude. He's just, you know, a DJ. And I was like, well, why is he so popular? All he do is spin records, you know. And I was just like, man, you should show me that. You should show me how to do that. Right? I want to learn how to do that. So he started teaching me how to DJ. So, and like my first freshman and sophomore year, nobody even in the school even knew I knew how to DJ. So toward the end of my sophomore year, we finna have a dance and the DJ canceled. And my best friend was like, you should tell him you know how to DJ. I'm like, nah, man, I ain't got no equipment for no school dance. And he was like, no, we can just borrow your cousin's stuff. And I was like, let me see. So I asked him, like, hey, if I do a school dance, you let me use your stuff? He's like, they finna let you do the school dance? I'm like, I don't know. I'm gonna just tell him I could do it. And he's like, yeah, if you can get the gig, I got you. And I was like, for real? Then when they paid me, I said, hold on.
Isn't that weird feeling?
Yeah, it was crazy. When they paid me, I was like, wait, slow down. So You know, back then, you know, them little couple of hundred was a lot of money back then. I was like, wait a minute, hold on.
Yeah.
I can get paid doing
You're
this?
used to this. Yeah.
Yeah, wait a minute, hold on. So this type of stuff, just spinning records, and
Paid
you gonna
and
give me
laid.
this. I'm like, say less. I'm on this from here on. I'm looking like, nah, I'm finna do music. You know, and I told my cousin, listen, I'm finna find, actually him and his crew was the reason I went and bought all my own equipment. They had a party. We had this thing out here called the playground, that was in between all of the buildings that we lived in. And they used to bring the equipment out like once a week, once every weekend. And I'm looking like, okay, I can DJ now. Everybody know I can DJ. I go over there like, hey, let me get like 15 minutes so I can show everybody what I can do. And they was like, nah, we ain't got no time slot for you, bro. And I was like, what? You know what I mean? Y'all ain't gonna let me get on? And I was like, okay. I got mad. I got real angry and said, I went and got a pen and a pad and just wrote down every piece of equipment they had, right? Now, they didn't know I had been saving my money and everything. And I went and bought everything they had and said, they ain't DJing down here no more. I'm finna be your competition. So I told my cousin, I said, since y'all didn't help me, I'm finna become y'all competition. And they was looking like, yeah, okay. And then they looked up about a year later, I was the man. It was like, State Street is mine. Y'all can stay from down here. I'm doing all the parties down here.
They're right
so
there.
That was it.
That's a lesson in how to deal with interpersonal frustration. Because it's like I would be the exact same way. Because it's like even like Michael Jordan talks about making the enemy out of the guy that's not really your enemy, and it just becomes a motivator. I am that person.
Yeah, it drives you. It definitely drives you, because that definitely drove me to say, I need to be better than all of them. If I'm gonna go up against them, I used to practice every day. I used to be like, I need to be better than all of them, because at some point I thought one of them was gonna challenge me. So I'm looking like, yeah, I need to know how to scratch. I need to know how to do all that, because I see them scratching and stuff. Like, I need to know how to do all that, and then I'm gonna just come out of a bag on them. And I never got the competitive part from them. They never challenged me, but I was ready. I was like, I want one of them to say something. I want about it. Yeah, I was like, I want one of them to say something, because I want to definitely shut them down. But you know, they embraced it and was like, man, we happy for you and you doing your thing. Especially now, like when they see me traveling, things like that. When they see me, they be like, boy, we didn't know you was gonna take it to this level. Like, you know, especially my cousin, he's so proud of me. You know what I mean? He just be like, cause you took that little thing I gave you and you just gone with it. And I'm like, yeah, man, like. Yeah. I really love music. I love DJing. You know what I mean? So, like I tell people all the time, if I could do it for free and my bills was paid, I'd do it. I'd go to these different countries and DJ and all that for free. You know, that's how much I love the atmosphere, the music, things like that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, as they say, they pay you to get there. The work's for free. They pay you to get there and to fly and all that shit.
Yeah. That there, like, I definitely would do it for free. If all my bills would just be paid for the year, I just would go have fun. That's my party. That's people be looking at me like, you don't really go out, you don't go to parties. I'm like, no, yes I do.
Yeah.
Yes I do. I'm mentally in a party when I'm making beats. I'm there. Like you have no clue where I'm there. I'm mentally somewhere else. You know what I mean? So yeah, I party in my head a lot.
So when you travel all around the world, you mentioned places like Amsterdam. I've had the pleasure to go over there and have some good times in my life, and like
real nice over there. Yeah,
it's beautiful. I recommend it. And then other parts of the country. Do you find that the audiences are drastically different? Are you seeing like similar faces and like walks of life in all these different places? Or are you showing up in a new place and it could be anybody that's showing up at the shows?
You know what? It's for me. I wouldn't say I see the same faces, but I feel the same vibe. Mm-hmm. Like all of the different countries, I feel like they're all music lovers, and that's what I love about raves. Like 90% of the people in the place just love music.
Yeah.
And then some of them have their particular genre of music that they love, but the majority of them they want to hear good records. You know what I mean? And when they hear a good record, they let you know that that's a good record. So I like the vibes. It's like, you know, I tell people all the time, but every time somebody call me and want to book me, I try to figure it out. Like I want to be on the plane every opportunity I can, going somewhere, play some records, and let them hear, hey, y'all want to hear these 2 records I made the other day? You know what I mean? So like, I get the same vibe from these people in different countries. It drives me because I'll make a record with certain drum patterns and I say, ooh, when they hear that part right there, and then to actually see people react to that particular part in the record, it'd be like, hey, it'd be like, text Sierra, tell them I'm on the call. So it'd be like, can you still see me? Okay, I'm sorry.
I see. Yeah, no worries.
So yeah, that's the vibe for me. Like, but the people are basically almost the same, just all music lovers, just music lovers. When I look out into them crowds, I just see people just in their zones, everybody having a ball, you know, and that's it for me. Like, to be able to, I'm a kid from the projects, you know what I mean? So to be able to come from the projects, come from nothing, be able to play in front of all these people, and then everybody's vibing to a record that you made. Like, you can't make that story up. You know what I mean? It's like
they came to see, they left their house to see you spin a record that you played for them. It's like, that's a pretty big compliment.
That's crazy. It's crazy. And before I started traveling, I never could have imagined that ever. Like, I never thought that I would be playing overseas for pools of people, and they will be saying, hey, I got your album. Can you sign it? I'm saying, oh, wow. You know, so I'm humbled. Every country or city I go to, it's always some type of experience that instantly humbles me. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking like, man, this is extremely humbling. When I was in Belgium, they took care of me so well in Belgium that when I got back to my room, I kind of like broke down. Like, was like, this is crazy. Like, I'm not a crier or none of that at all. Like, I'm probably
sometimes the moment you're just like,
but the moment was so epic that when I got back to the room, it was like, man, this is crazy. Especially when I opened the curtains, they had put me in this hotel that was like in the middle of, you could see all of the flags and stuff like that. And I just looked out and was like, oh my God. Like, the room was crazy. I was like, I called my favorite aunt and was like, I gotta show you this room. Like, I gotta let you see this suite that they put me in. And, you know, for people to take care of you that way, you know what I'm saying? Then, you know, for me, just to be, you know, I'm a black kid from the hood. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, it's just crazy, man.
They don't treat me this well back home. Like,
I'm looking like, I go in the neighborhood, they be like, yeah, what up, Joe? And be like, bro, don't you know I just left Amsterdam? You know, so when even when I tell my friends, like, I was just over in, they say, I think your video, you was in Poland, and then you went to Amsterdam, all right. Hey, you want to buy me a soda?
Moving on.
Bro, I was just in Poland.
Don't ask me about the food. Don't ask me about the women. Just, what can I do for you?
My buddies, man, they just don't be. So I start.
You need someone to humble you at home too, though. You're humbled when you go there.
It's always somebody. Yeah, my kids humble me quickly because it's one of those, Daddy. Yeah, I'm gonna show you back. Yeah, that's cool. Listen, and I'll be like, I just got home. Yeah, I know, but that's cool. Can we, then they be asking you to go. You know what really humbles when people say, hey, can we go to Walmart? And I be looking like,
who's paying?
And I just came back from a whole nother country. Like, my daughter asked me to go to Target the day after I came from Russia.
You gotta sleep that off.
I'm like, I'm walking through Target, and I just left Russia. Like, it's just crazy. I can't even believe, like, Russia.
Yeah, if I go through customs, don't expect anything out of me for like 2 days.
Man, oh man, like, man, you know what? It was like getting that stamp in that passport and walking through those little glass things.
Yeah,
that does something for me. It was like I turned around and looked like they not trying to grab me. You know what I mean? So, it's just crazy. If you knew my lifestyle and know where I came from, my walks of life, you be amazed. Like, bro. Like I people don't even, and I be talking to my family members, even my aunt, who I love to death. She be looking at me like, baby boy, like you boy. She'll look and she like, I'm just living vicariously through you, cause you just everywhere. And I'm looking like, I'm trying to go everywhere.
Yeah.
I still got 4 or 5 countries on my bucket list.
Let's put those out there, because maybe someone hears this and they want to pull you out there. What countries
I
do you
hope
want to
so,
go to?
because I want to go to Germany. I
Ooh.
want to do Africa. I want to play London. What was the other one?
London's
I wanted
great.
to play Hawaii until all that craziness started happening over there, so I'm gonna take Hawaii off the list.
Wait till the Rock and Oprah fixes all that, then we can go off to Hawaii.
Yeah, I'll wait till that get together, and I'm scared to go there. Germany.
I mean,
London.
London must. I can't believe you haven't been to London. I think they'd love you over there.
A lot of people. And I
they
want to
love
play
filthy,
Ibiza.
grimy stuff.
Yeah, I want to play Ibiza bad. I want to play Ibiza.
Yeah, I feel like that's
I
tailor
see
made.
some of those parties and be like, how the fuck am I not there? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I want to play Ibiza. I really want to play like 50% of some of the big festivals. Just let me play once.
Yeah.
Let me do my raunchy thing and get out your way. So.
But there's an audience for that. I mean, it's like it's the international language of love, as they say.
Yeah. I tell people, I just want to play something. Just let me play. I don't want to be in nobody's way. You can have all your headliners and all that. Give me right before your headliners, and I'm cool.
Yeah.
Let me earn mine.
What makes a good? So when I was listening to a bunch of juke music this week, like, I was trying to think, like, what makes a good, like, ghetto house song versus like a bad one? Because I'm like, you're looking at something that's very simple. A lot of times the bass is coming from the drums and the lyrics are kind of repeated, but it's obviously there's good ones and there's bad ones. So how do you know when you're really onto something? And like, how do you, when you hear a song that ain't quite there, what's the difference?
Math is, for me, trial and error. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I'll make some, like, it's songs of mine right now that I thought were bad, and people be like, "No, we fucking love that record."
I run into that too. And then, fucking frustrating.
Yeah, so it's like I give an example. I got a record called Cheers, that I did with my daughter and my stepdaughter years ago. Mm-hmm. Never thought nothing of the record. They was outside doing double dutch, and I heard them saying it. And I called them in the house. Hey, y'all, come here for a second. Say that cheer y'all was saying. And they said it. I'm like, let me record y'all. Made a little beat to it, put it out. Didn't hear nothing about it for years. It's the number 10 slot on my Spotify right now. I never liked the record. It was never really, like, even the record, Back the Fuck Up. They love that record. That record was not I always felt like this ain't one of my best records to me. Yeah. But it's like, I don't know. A Blunt wasn't even really what, like, people love that record. You know what I'm saying? Now, a Freaky Ride, now that's my shit. You know what I'm saying?
No.
I love that. Wouldn't you like to be a hoe?
Yeah.
Fucks with that. You know what I'm saying? But it's some of the records that they be picking, I be like, straight up? Like, okay. And I ain't gonna argue with you.
Let them have it.
Yeah, if you streaming it, I'm not arguing with you. Yeah, but at the end of the day, I'm saying, man, that's not my best work. But sometimes for me, it's never a bad record. Yeah. Like I have.
Like you wouldn't release it if you're not happy with it.
Yeah. If it doesn't do anything, then I probably say, yeah, I probably didn't put a lot of work into that. But it's crazy. It's some records I done put a lot of work into. And they really ain't moving like I thought they was gonna move. Yeah. And there's some records I put together in 15, 20 minutes, and they said, "Oh, that record right there is crazy." I'm saying, man, that shit got like eight drums in it and 2 chants. Like, what the fuck?
I end up in like my day job, I end up mentoring like kids that are in their early 20s a bunch, like just like kids we have helping out. And like one of the lessons I always tell them, like in life, you have to get used to this. There are going to be things you work your ass off that nobody notices at all, and you're going to be pissed. And there are things that you trip over your own dick and like land into like a pile of cake, and everybody's like, and you
Oh
have to
yeah,
just
yeah,
accept it.
yeah,
You have to just accept
yeah.
it. It all evens
Be
out. And
like,
if you can't like, and that was a lesson that I didn't learn till I wish I learned earlier, but it's a valuable lesson to learn as a young person.
yeah, that's a definitely valuable lesson. I'm learning that. I've learned it. So it's like for me, I just make the music, put it out, and hope for the best.
Well, it's
So
also
it's like,
too. There's nothing like I was watching a documentary on like techno from like the late '90s. That's when I was a big rave kid. So watching Better Living Through Circuitry, which I haven't watched in years, and I was
okay,
noticing just how gatekeepery a lot of these people were. Everybody was almost like a lot of them were almost too good to be talking about it or wanting to talk about why they were there because they weren't someplace else. But it seems like the music that you guys are doing is pretty welcoming. It's like, hey, as long as you don't just come on in and have a good time. And it seems like it's the opposite of that, in that it's like, I don't know, that seems like a better way to go.
yeah, yeah. I've been some places where um some of the records have been shock value for people. I'll play a certain record and people be like, "Oh shit," you know what
Yeah.
I mean? And
You
then
don't like that, you're not gonna
after
like
a
the next
while,
one.
yeah, after a while they'd be like, "Well, shit, if you don't like that one, this next one's gonna be your motherfucker." You know what I'm saying? So, and I always tell people in the beginning, and that's Funk. Funk was one of the people when he made the part when he said, "If you don't like words like shit, fuck, ass," I was like, "Funk, that's perfect, bro.
Yeah.
Let them know in the dough what you finna play, because if you don't like it, you need to leave right now, because that's what's fuck finna happen."
Yeah.
So I DJ unapologetically. Like, it's like, hey, if you don't like it, then more than likely there's another room to go party in. You know what I'm saying? So go in there, when my hour set is over, you can come back to whoever's next. But
Were there any like
you know,
particularly bad gigs where you like accidentally got booked for like a nursing home or something, or like any
I
times where
know.
like it was a huge like mismatch when you got there and you just had to deal with it? Or
You know what I love about Ghetto House, and in my career particularly, we end up, me, Dion, and a few of our other people end up getting labeled as juke DJs. People start calling us the juke DJs, them the hood DJs, juke. So people already knew booking us what to expect.
mm-hmm.
We never got the mistaken
Right.
for a hip hop DJ or a karaoke DJ and nothing like that. They make hood shit. If you hire one of them, it's gonna be cursing. Like, don't hire them for no 13-year-old party, because they make records and play records with a lot of profanity in them. So people knew that about us. So we never accidentally got booked for anything. Like it's crazy because I do a lot of schools now, and I barely get one or two Ghetto House records in, with clean music. But it's funny that I get to play some of those schools, and I'm saying, "Ooh, back in the days."
Yeah,
I remember back in the days playing for the schools, and they had no juking signs all around the gym, like no juke. And then they would use them the little ladders that they do for volleyball.
Yeah.
To watch the kids in the crowd to keep them from grinding up against each other. Yeah, I still got the article from the Sun Times when they had no juking in the high schools on the front page.
Oh God.
Yeah.
That reminds me actually too. So I watched you had a really good hour-long documentary about the history of ghetto house music that was on your YouTube channel that I watched a couple times this week. And like the one thing I wanted to kind of clarify about that, they talked a little bit about the history of radio. And that comes up a lot on my podcast with different people. And like that was one of the things that really hurt my Boston hip hop scenes. Never really had radio support. And you can definitely tell how much that makes or break audiences. There's still a lot of people who still listen to radio. So how, especially with the explicit nature of ghetto house music, how did radio impact you getting the word out back then, or as time has gone on?
So we have two Power 92 wasn't I think we had BMX, we had the college station WKKC, we had GCI, and I can't think of what the other station was. It was actually Power 92 used to be this station. So we had two P1 stations, and we had a few P2 stations, and then we had some college stations. So GCI has always been the biggest station in Chicago. So we figured, hey, if we can get a few of the records we made that are a little bit cleaner, because everybody was into our mixes. Our mixtapes was flying off the shelf. So me, Deion Milton had this bright idea. Well, we're gonna go up to the station and almost like, you know, demand that y'all play at least 10 minutes of one of our mixes, you know, weekly on the station.
The old Wu-Tang approach.
Yeah, so Mike Love and it was these guys, Mike Love and the Diz, they had this little slogan on the station where they used to do this thing called the birthday song. So we used to hear that and be like, okay, that's Juke. We can that's the Ghetto House right there. These gonna be the guys that we're gonna approach and get them to take us up to the station. So we bump into them, talk to them. They knew who we were, and they be like, man, great idea. Y'all put some, 5 to 10 minute mixes together, and we're going to present y'all, and we're going to have a meeting at the station. We get there. They play, I don't even think it was 3 minutes of the mix. And the program director stops the mix, and they all looking weird. They walk us in the hallway and say, I don't think we're ever going to be able to play that type of music at this station, right? No profanity at all. Like, we played every super clean record that we could. No profanity at all. And they were like, nah, we don't think this is going to work here.
Was it just that even with profanity, there was just still the implication, it was still dirty even without swears?
It was like,
you can put this in the dishwasher.
Booty all around. They was like, booty, oh, no. You know what I'm saying? So
it was before like Footsie Roll and stuff.
Yeah, we leave, and about 2 weeks later, Mike Love and the Diz reaches out to us and say, we finna probably get fired, but we can no longer go without giving y'all a shot up here, right?
Yeah.
So they came up with this thing where they was just gonna do it for a quick 30 seconds to a minute. And they were having people call in the station and say, hey, man, I just got off work. I'm pissed off at my boss. He done made me mad. I really want to knock him upside his head. Can I get a 20-second workout, please? And they'd be like, okay, you got it coming up. And they would play like 20 to 30 seconds of 1 hour record.
That's brilliant.
It took off. Like, it took off. They hit us up, brought us back up there maybe like 3-4 weeks later to the same program director. And he was like, so look, this is what we're going to need. I'm like,
Did he totally pretend the first conversation didn't happen?
Like, you remember these faces, don't you? Like, we was the guys who walked in the hallway and crushed our souls and told us that you wasn't going to never play.
I was hoping you wouldn't mention that.
Yeah, so they Mike Love and the Diz, I never want them to never get their credit. Mike Love and the Diz at WGCI, the biggest station in Chicago, risked their jobs because they knew how big this music was. They was like, nah, bro, we finna pull it. And they was like, we probably gonna get fired for this. and we was like, but they was like, we gotta trust, send us some clean music, but only 20-second clips. Yeah. And I was like, all right, we got y'all. And they was like, man, and they had everybody calling. I'm talking about, it blew up so hard, people was mad that they couldn't get through. People be getting off work, they frustrated. People was getting out their cars, dancing all on the expressways, all in the streets. When the 20 seconds got ready to play, everybody, they stopping their cars. And it caught on for a long time. And then right after they did the 20-second workout, about a minute or two later, they would do this birthday song. Everybody, whoever birthday it is. And people was like, man, they got y'all on the radio. It was, the rest of it was history. We started selling so many mixtapes. It was like, whoo. Like,
so what type of calls do you start getting, like, once that starts happening? Like, what sort of, like, offers or things are presented to you? What sort of new opportunities start coming out of that?
Chicago embraced us, but the other cities loved us. If you can understand that.
Oh, like, yeah. There's definitely stuff like that in my city too. Yep.
Yeah, we started traveling to other cities. Like, we got a lot of gigs in Chicago because it was like, but it was hood gigs. We didn't get the downtown, at the Chicago theater things. Like, we didn't get to play at the Bulls games, and we didn't get that type of love. You know what I'm saying? To play at stuff like that. But other cities would be like, oh my God, that music done got down here. We be in Milwaukee, we be in Detroit, especially Detroit. Detroit embraced us like Detroit didn't. That's one thing I would say about Detroit. Detroit was one of those cities that did not give two fucks.
Right,
You know what I'm saying? Like, Detroit is a tough city, bro. They radio stations or none of that. They don't give two fucks.
No.
We was riding down there to go do dip in 2009, and we heard Ghetto House and Juke on the radio station while we ride their mains. I'm like, woo, if we could get this type of love at the crib.
Yeah.
But yeah, Detroit was killing. Detroit, Milwaukee, Minnesota, those places like that, they embraced it like crazy. So the other cities, Indianapolis, they were embracing us like crazy, and still to this day. You know, these people, they'll throw raves and hey, we need that raunchiness, we need that ghetto house, we need you. Yeah. So it's New York embraced it.
Yeah.
So it was actually for Chicago, ghetto house was the battle for hip hop. So it was like hip hop came into Chicago, it started making the house music kind of like
what era of hip hop was that?
BDP,
okay.
especially NWA.
Yeah, like late 90s.
NWA,
late 80s. Yeah.
So those guys, that music came and changed the entire outlook on the city, because people went from penny loafers and flooding pants to starter jackets and Timberlands.
Oh yeah, I still have my starter jacket.
House music didn't work for that, and I tell people that all the time. Those people y'all had in those preppy clothes and all that traded that in for Timberland and starter jackets.
Yeah.
You know, like we had so many. I had a Raiders jacket. I had a Bulls jacket. Like
I had a Duke
LA,
one.
A lot of people had LA jackets, but I ain't like LA.
Yeah. That was the first one.
White Sox. You know, so when people traded that stuff, it was like, bro, wasn't nobody listening? No, it's a cold world, and gotta have house. Wasn't nobody trying. They was in that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Fuck the police. That shit. That's what motherfucker was on. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
It changed the whole dynamic, and we were like, wait a minute, they cursing on the record.
Right. It's like, why can't I do this if they can do that?
Yeah. And then the dancers, the dance groups, House-O-Matic, Phase 2, K5, people they were like, man, we need to speed them records up, because they were dancing faster. They was like, y'all should speed the records up. And we was like, all right, okay.
Yeah, that was the interesting thing in that documentary too. They talked about how the records progressively got faster.
Faster. It went from 135 to 140 to 145 to 150 to 155 to 160. When it got to 160, I was like, nah, man, this shit
terminal velocity.
They started footworking and all. I was like, this shit too fast for me. Like, I ain't making no tracks at no 160. I'm like, I couldn't do it. I'm like, I'm gonna stick to this. As far as I'm gonna go with it is 150, and they ain't going no further. So
because then it's like, you don't want, like, at a certain point it becomes gimmicky. You still want it to be like a real song. It's like,
and then you want. I always looked at cha-cha slides and things like that. I always want records where if a 40-year-old wanted to dance to it, or a 50-year-old wanted to dance to it, they didn't feel out of place dancing to it. Right. You know what I mean? Or they didn't feel too old to dance to it. Or at least they could sit in their chair and bob their head and move a little bit.
It's hard not
but
to.
If that shit going at 160, they looking like, man, that shit is for the kids. What is this shit? Yeah. And then you don't want nobody on the floor for 60 seconds, and they so damn tired that they gotta go sit down. They ain't been on the floor but a minute. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you gotta slow that shit back down.
It's good workout music too. Like, I gotta say, it's because you threw out the term workout music there too. So, like, is that like, is that literally what it means? It's something that you're encouraging people to do their exercise to this, or does that have some other meaning to it?
I get a lot, like, for the whole, like, the pandemic, I was making so many mixes and sending it to people in their emails and things. People were working out. Like, that ghetto house music is the perfect workout music.
It really is.
It's the perfect workout music. I even had a guy, he's in somewhere in the UK. He got a kickboxing thing. And I made like maybe 10 or 15 tracks for him strictly for kickboxing.
Yeah.
And he would tell me the direction, like, I need this particular type of sound, and then I need this sound. He'd tell me the two sounds, and he'd say, now you take it from there. And yeah, I need it fast. I need it punching. I need it going. You know what I'm saying? I was like, all right, I got you. You know what I'm saying?
Have
So,
you released that, or
yeah,
is that just
yeah. He actually got a DVD. He got a kickboxing DVD out. I was just in my garage doing some spring cleaning and I found his, and I found this workout lady. I did hers. They both had DVDs. So those are my little collector
That's so
pieces.
cool, because it really is. The funny thing too, it's also like the constant like reminders of sex also remind you like why you're doing it. Like, oh yeah, I got to get in shape, got to look good. So
Yeah,
it's like
yeah,
there's that element of it too, where it's like just like
yeah.
spicy enough to keep you motivated.
It's definitely great energy music. It's good
Yeah,
energy music, like great energy music.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like it's one of those things where if you just described what that type of music is, wrote it down on paper, you look at it and go, yeah, I don't know. But then when you hear it, there's an energy that comes together through all the elements. Like you're like,
Yeah,
it's awesome, man. I
yeah.
highly recommend
Appreciate it.
it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So what are your ambitions now for the next few years? What are you working on? Like where are you hoping to take your skills
I've been
next?
doing vinyl. I went back to doing vinyl. So I've been
I went back to
releasing.
buying vinyl, so that's good for
Yeah.
you and good for me.
I I went back to releasing my own vinyl. I wanted to pay for it out of my own pocket. So I got another. My birthday is May 14th. I'm gonna release it on Sunday, May 12th at Gramophone. So I'm getting that together. I actually already sent off the master and everything over to Arthur to get them to press it up. I just released Ghetto House Music Volume 1. That's out. Then I just did one with two of my Dance Mania guys, Fats and Thaz. We got a album out called Dance Mania Legends Volume 1.
You got like sort of the Grand Theft Auto cover that
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
beautiful
yeah,
looking. Yeah.
yeah. People love that album.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's dope, man.
yeah. That's basically it. I'm just trying to get this music back out here.
One other thing, did you work with Missy on something? Did I see that somewhere?
I did the Work It remix for her. Missy's a real good friend of my cousin. Dances in her group.
She's
She's a real
amazing.
good. Yeah, I'm real. She's an amazing person. You know
That's
what I mean?
what I
Like
hear
she's
too.
down to
Yeah.
earth. Yeah, she's a down to earth person. Like
How about touring? Any upcoming shows?
I go to New York tomorrow.
Yep, excellent. Well, this unfortunately
In the
before
morning.
that. But how about if people want to book you? Like if they want to bring you some to like London or Germany and those
Go
places.
DJSlugomusic.com and then just click on bookings and then just hit me up. Yeah, that's for international and domestic.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
I
DJ Slugo.
You got tons of vinyl on your website too.
Yeah.
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 I actually, you know what? I ask you one more thing. Let me ask you about the Nina Kravitz of it all.
That's my buddy.
I'll tell you, like, so that little clip that can get you far.
Yeah. So
she's amazing.
I'm trying to figure out where I first met Nina. Where did I first meet Nina? We bumped into it. She was playing somewhere. She played the day before, and I think I played the day after, or vice versa. But I remember bumping into her first, and people were, like, man, she's like the #1 female DJ in the world and whatever. And I was like, shit, she's fucking cool. You know what I'm saying? And she was just cool. And then the Re-Kids, I think that's their name, Re-Kids, reached out to me and was like, hey, Nina wants you to do a remix for her. She loves your sound. I was like, Nina Kravitz? They like, yeah. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Right? And we went back and forth in text, and then I think we did maybe like 1 or 2 Zooms, and I was like, nah, this lady cool. She's cool as fuck, right? And that's when I knew she really was super cool. So I do the remixes, and usually when you do stuff with artists, it's like we do shit.
Yeah.
Boom, it ain't no real relationship.
Not very personal.
So she ended up playing Chicago for her birthday. She was in Chicago, and she told them, I need him to open.
Oh my God.
And I was like, so they hit me up like, hey, what's your booking fee? Nina wants you to open up for her. You know who else is cool like her? Nicholas Jar, Nico Jar.
Ooh, yeah.
Hey, those two people are two of the coolest people in this industry. That's not industry people. They just decent human beings.
People.
You know what I mean? They did shit that they didn't have to do. You know, Nico used to do the same thing. He'll come to Chicago, or he flew me to New York for his birthday, and was like, "I want you to open for my birthday. Like, I want you to go right before me." You know, he's like, "I love
That's
your
huge.
shit. Like, I love
being kinder than you have to be is huge.
Yeah. And then like, we played this club here. She did it again. So we were playing Concord. It's a big club here called Concord here in Chicago, and she had missed her earlier set. So they were like, she had missed her set at the what they call that damn shit. It's a big festival they have here. She missed her set that day, and they were like, okay, she's playing tonight. She's playing right after you. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So when she came out, she hadn't got there yet. She actually got to she came straight from the airport onto the tables. And she was like, hey, Slugo, oh my God, so good to see you again, whatever. She was like, you want to do a back-to-back? And I was like, I don't give a fuck. Yeah, come on, let's do it. And we did a quick back-to-back, and people were like, what the fuck, bro? And so when I got back in the back, people was like, man, you know how big that is? You know, like you doing a back-to-back with her? I was like, man, that's Nina. She's just cool people. Like, I fuck with her. Like, they were like, nah, you ain't gasping the magnitude of what just happened.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, that's Nina. You know what I'm saying? That's how I always looked at, like, she's a good person. I look at Nico the same way. Like, he ended up moving to another country, but those are two of the people, like, that's big of that magnitude that show me love when they ain't have to. You know what I mean? So I'm forever grateful to those two people.
That's why I should always do it to someone. That's a big lesson we talk. Actually, just before we started this, I got 1,000 stickers printed up that say, with some of my art, and it says, "Be kind to someone today. The world needs it." And I plan on sending them out around to people, because I'm like, it's like we're in for a rough year, no matter what happens. This is a time to try to find things that we have in common and not things that tear us apart, because everybody wants to tear us apart right now.
Yeah, I just like being around good people, man. Yes. Like when you got good people and people mean you well, you just good people, man. It's just like they don't come often. You don't get that. You know, especially in the music world. Yeah. You know, it's like dog eat dog in this music industry stuff. So, you know, to find people who are on that level, because, you know, those two people are up there. Right. You know what I mean? And for them to say, no, I love your style. And you know, Nina her and Nico kind of blew me away when they were like, no, I'm a fan of your shit. Yeah. And I'm like, oh shit. Like, yeah? Okay. Like, no. And she loved the Wouldn't You Like to Be a Hoe? Oh, that's her record there. You know what I mean? She's like, yeah, that record just, she said, does it for me. You know, and then me and Nico did, he called me one morning, like early in the morning. It had to be like 6 in the morning. He was like, man, bro, I had you on my mind. I did this beat. I'm going to shoot it to you. And tell me if you like it. And if you like it, I want you to record something to it. And I got it, and it was nothing like I do. And it was like all this stringy shit going on. And I was like, the beat's dope, but what you want me to do to it? He's like, just do something. He's like, I love your voice. So just do some vocals. And I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to tell my life story. And I'm going to try to tell the majority of my life in 3 minutes. He was like, damn, that sounds dope. Send it to me when you're done. And that's when I came up with the concept Ghetto. And then when we did that record, I did not expect the record to be that big. I knew it was going to do some numbers because of him and who he was and where he's at. But people were hitting me up like, damn, man, y'all used to be in pissy hallways and people was getting shot and shit like that. I'm like, yeah, this is all. I say everything everything I said on that record is facts. And he was even blown away like, bro, I don't know. He was like, I can't stop listening to it. And he was like, you can I put it on wax? And I was like, I don't give a fuck what you do with it, bro. Like, I just wanted to do it for you. You know what I'm saying? You always looked out for me. So yeah, I said that's what came to mind when you gave me that beat. It's like, I'm Ghetto, you know. And then I explained on the album, on that record, where I felt like I was ghetto. And people still to this day, still one of my biggest records, with him, and that remix with Nina. When we did the back-to-back, that's the first record I dropped. And she was like, oh shit, she had forgot about the remix. And everybody was in that motherfucker like, she was like, oh shit, I forgot about that record. I'm like, yeah, this motherfucker still go hard.
Yeah.
So
good records don't go out of style, man. It's like,
oh no.
It's
and they put that motherfucker on a 7-inch, bro. Like it's some color 7 inches. I was like that. I was like, this shit is epic. Like,
I'll be looking for that on Discogs later tonight, in case you're wondering. So
I got it.
Oh, sure. I'll have to look. Is it on your website? It's it's so remarkable, man. It's such a wonderful, awesome. It's what we're talking about is real, recognized, real, and that's like what the music industry should be like,
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. Like I never understood how people get to a certain level, and if anybody helped you get to that level, how you don't pay it forward.
I know.
How you don't do that.
I don't
like how don't you do that? Like somebody helped you get to where you are, and you got there and just said, "Fuck anybody else behind me." I can't understand that for life for me. Like help somebody to help somebody, And when a person asks you what you owe them, you tell them, "I need you to help somebody like I helped you."
Yeah.
So.
All right, one last question for you. What if you were to recommend some of your favorite drummers of all time, like just like of any genre, people that you've always respected as a drummer? One I've always loved, Jimmy Chamberlain from the Smashing Pumpkins. Like for some reason in high school, we used to always be like, just like him. We love that shit. That's where I learned to love about drums. What are some of your favorite drummers or even drum songs like in your life?
I like Prince drummer. The female drummer he had.
Yeah.
She was dope. And I like what's his name with the pick?
Oh, Questlove.
I got to see him live and was like, okay, that shit's different. Like he does shit with drums. And then the guy from what's the name of the group? It's an old school group. I seen them in concert and said the fucking drummer is crazy. Oh God, what's their name? The guys. Do you remember? The time, September.
It's
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Earth, Wind, and Fire. Yes, that's
Earth, Wind, and Fire drummer. Woo!
Yeah. They're amazing,
man.
I gotta say, I was listening to some Earth, Wind, and Fire. My parents over the holidays. I was looking through their records. I'm like, what do we got in here? They got some funk to it, and like I was like, I should be listening to these guys all the fucking time. Them and Simon.
I saw that dude playing drums, and I said, I need to learn how to play drums. Like all the flipping the sticks, and he was just going bozo. And then he had all the extra, he had all the. I was like, nah. I felt like it was a little bit too extra. You know what I'm saying? Like all of the different things. But I was looking like, but no, he's playing he's playing them drums. He hitting all. I'm like, oh wow. Like, how do you even concentrate? Like when I tried to do drums, I can't get the beat and I can't get the rhythm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I can't do it. That's
to
why
see somebody else do it and say, I don't know how he's doing it. I don't know how he's at the same time and not going off beat. And then when I started learning music, I was like, the drummer runs the entire stage. Like if he's off, everybody's off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So and I watched Sheila E.
Yeah.
I watched her tell another drummer in concert, "You're not in the pocket. Get in the pocket. Get in the pocket."
I'm looking at her like, on stage.
Yeah, I'm looking like, whatever he's doing wrong, whatever you doing wrong, bro, get in the pocket.
Fix it fast.
Now, she was tapping the stick, saying, "Get in the pocket. Get in the pocket." I'm in the concert saying, "Whatever the fuck is he? Get your ass in the pocket." And I was like, so when I went to the studio, I was like, hey, if a drummer telling another drummer to get in the pocket, what they mean by that? He's like, oh, he out of rhythm. He got to get in the pocket. He's throwing the rhythm off. I'm like,
if Sheila E's ever yelling that at me, what do I do?
Yeah, Sheila E is a drummer. Sheila E is a drummer. Fascinating. Sheila E is a drummer. The girl that Prince had, whew, she's a drummer. Questlove is a drummer.
Yeah.
And that boy from Earth, Wind, and Fire, whoo, Lord have mercy. Yeah. I like what's that name? Chili Peppers, is that name Red?
Oh
Chili
yeah,
Peppers?
Chad Smith, the guy that looks like Will Ferrell.
I like they whole crew though.
Yeah.
Even they guitarists, like I like them.
Yeah.
I met one of them, and where were we at? LA? LA. I met him in LA. I don't know what his name is. He the one with the glasses.
Oh, maybe John Frusciante or Flea or Anthony Kiedis or
he got the podcast with the guy with the beard.
Oh, Rick Rubin.
He's got the podcast with Rick Rubin.
Oh fuck! So I don't know which one it is then. I didn't know they had a podcast together. But I got to find out about that.
Yeah, they got a podcast together. Yeah, they got. I ended up when we got to LA and I met him. Somebody gave me that clip of him saying that Ghetto House was one of his favorite new sounds of music. I was like, what? You know what I'm saying?
Who, Rick Rubin?
Still actually ain't even got. He was telling Rick Rubin that.
Oh.
Rick Rubin asked him like, "Is it any new sounds you like?"
It sounds like it's up Rick Rubin's aisle because I mean he was right up there at the beginning of the 808. It was like him on like those LL Cool J and Run DMC and Beastie Boys songs.
Yeah, that Rick Rubin. When I saw him and Rick Rubin talking about Ghetto House, I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah,
you know, like that's crazy. Yeah, that was crazy to me. I was looking like, well, it ain't. You know, I'm one of those people like, if it ain't broke, I ain't trying to fix it. So I'm not. You know, I know some people be looking like, man, it's been around for a while. You know, why haven't you went to something else? Nah, bro. I love what I do. I love this sound. Like, I love this sound. I'm going to live and die with the sound. It's either going to work or it ain't going to work, but I'm going to keep doing it until somebody tell me it don't work no more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I think it's going to keep working. So.
Yes, sir. Appreciate
cool, man.
you.
All right, well, I appreciate this interview. It's such a pleasure to talk to you. Your
man, pleasure all, man.
Yeah, and we talked about tons of music. Check it out, and we'll have your information below the entire time. So,
okay.
Cool, man.